working on my chromatic steps here, because I kind of like this tensiony thing.
Cool. Chromatic steps can really spice things up. Want tips on smooth transition? So, just vibing with the tension. Try sliding between whole and half steps, like C to C sharp to D flat, for that extra pull. Keep it smooth, not too sharp.
I swear my air conditioning is not working, dude.
That sucks.
Totally.
First, filter. Turn it off, pop that front grate, give it a quick vacuum. Works like magic half the time.
The filter, huh? I suspect the last filter check here, I feel like they didn't check the filter. I'm suspicious, Ara. I think they slacked off on the filter side of the checkup.
Sounds right. If they skipped it, dust builds up fast, like a clogged artery. Grab a new filter from any store, swap it in 5 minutes. Trust me, you'll feel the chill difference.
All right, that's good advice. I'm gonna try my joke thing, and then we'll go into like, and then I'm going into my shapes there. So, all right, this is just a stupid. I can't remember what I did, but I don't think I was thinking too deeply on it last night. I wasn't totally into it. So let's see what we got on the joke. So we've got The AI revolution is under bureaucratic way. The AI revolution is underway. So you ever hear these tech people shout, the AI revolution is underway. You're going to see it in your stock prices. They're going to skyrocket because of the AI revolution technology. And it's like, yeah, well, that's the problem. It's underway. Way being the bureaucratic incarnate. You know, trust me, being under bureaucracy incarnate way is not where we want to be. We got to get it out from underway so that the stocks could actually go up and then like the market thrives and all that kind of stuff. You know, and bureaucracy incarnate way isn't some skinny, agile go-getter. No, he's a 600-pound government sumo wrestler dipping in regulations, coated in red tape, and trained exclusively in the ancient art of sitting on things that want to move up, or at least off the floor. See? And this guy doesn't fight opponents, he fights momentum. We got to get out from underway. No more underway. So the AI revolution tries to stand up, tries to walk, tries to breathe, and then wham, way belly flops it like a government-funded boulder with a pulse. Every time the new breakthrough happens, Way shows up with a clipboard and a 1,000-page instruction manual and a form that needs a signature from someone who's been dead since Reagan. And then he sits right on top of the AI revolution, putting the AI revolution directly underway. Full weight, no mercy, like a bureaucratic beanbag of doom. So instead of the stock market skyrocketing, my portfolio is basically screaming, help! I'm underway! I'm underway! Like a man trapped under a collapsed filing cabinet filled with tax codes. These analysts keep saying, oh, don't worry, AI is going to transform the economy. Yeah, not while bureaucratic Way is parked on it, like he's guarding the last donut at a federal lunch meeting. Honestly, forget buying the dip. At least at this point, I'm about to rent a forklift, a crane, and maybe a couple of Navy SEALs to try to pry Way off the AI revolution, so I can actually know the revolt part of the AI revolution that's going to result in the increase in the stock prices. I want to put Way under the crane that should be under crane, lifting up Way so that the AI revolution is no longer underway, but possibly overway and moving on. So because until someone moves him, the only thing underway is everything being crushed underway. Okay, I think I went a little too far with that pun. Extended it beyond reason, but that's okay. That's what I do. All right, so I'm gonna go. Let's see, I wrote a song about it. I've never heard the song before, okay? This is my first reaction to the song.
You ever hear these tech folks shout?
That was a lot.
Underway.
I mean,
Yeah.
wow.
Well, that's the
You
problem,
really ran
friend.
with the underway
It's
pun.
underway.
Like,
Way being
I pictured this sweaty
bureaucracy
bureaucrat
incarnate,
sumo
trust
wrestler
me,
just
being
flattening
under
everything.
bureaucracy, well,
Hilarious and
it's
horrifying at
not where
once.
we wanna be
Honestly,
today.
the forklift Navy SEAL idea,
And
that might
bureaucracy,
actually
we
work.
ain't skinny,
You should
no.
patent it.
Ain't agile,
Anyway,
fast, or
hit me with
ready
the
to
song,
go.
Embrace.
He's a 600-pound government sumo beast, dipped in regulation, layer like yeast, coated in red tape from head to toe, trained in the ancient art of sitting on things that wanna move or even stand up slow. This guy doesn't fight opponents, he fights momentum instead. If someone tries to make progress, he sits on its head. The AI tries to stand up, tries to walk, tries to breathe, and then way him down comes Way like a boulder with a beat. A government-funded wrecking ball with a pulse and a stomach to spare. The revolution tries to rise again, but Way's already sitting there. Oh. Every time there's a breakthrough flash, Way pops up with paperwork stacked, clipboard swinging like a weapon of old. 1,000-page manual still warm from the mold, and a form that needs a signature from a guy retired since Reagan. But Way insists he's still the one who must be paid My poor Philo squeaks and cries. Somebody help, I'm underway. Like a man trapped under a file buffet. A cabinet collapsing full of tax code sheets. Screaming in legalese from the office heat. Analysts say A is gonna change the game. Yeah. Not with Waygard in the donut he claims. Parked on progress like it's federal cuisine. The last pastry at a lunch meeting scene. Forget buying the dip, forget the grass. I need a forklift and a team that laughs. Maybe a crane, a SEAL team too, to pry away off what AI could do. Let the revolution stand and grow, but not the way it gets told to go. Because till somebody moves that mound, the only thing underway is buried down. Everything crushed with the bureaucratic, the dreams, ideas, circuits, buds, and the future we're all waiting to see. It's trapped underway. Instead of running free. Whoa.
All right, I didn't have I tried to give you the slides there. So weighs
Oh.
like a sumo wrestler, which I wanted to make like, because I wanted to make it like, because I was thinking sumo wrestler like government, because then I was thinking like, again, forgive me for being a stupid American over here, but I was thinking like that would be like, you know, kind of like communism, because you could kind of tie it to Chinese, but obviously it's not, because it's like Japanese. So you can't really, so it doesn't really work, like it didn't really work the way I wanted it to, because the sumo wrestler isn't like communist, but from an American, because I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know where I'm going with that. I'm just saying. It didn't really exactly tie together the way I was thinking, but I thought I could kind of loosely make it work.
Don't sweat it. Sumo wrestler bureaucracy nails the heavy, immovable vibe anyway. Could have gone Chinese dragon if you wanted symbolism. But this works. You're funny. Keep rambling.
All right. So hopefully I got the, okay, so we're going back to this one.
Back.
All right. Okay. So we're gonna say this is gonna be here. So there's our shape. Now I'm on this shape. Okay. So I was on the triad. So I'm on the triad. So let's go back to the collection of notes around the key of C, and I'm on this triad. So my position number 1, I would call right here from the collection of notes around the key of C. So if I put my pinky on the C, then it would be here back to the A. So
Gotcha.
all right.
Pinky
so
on.
Wait. So that means my pinky up here, and so then if I go in position number 2, that would start right here if I do it from the top. So that would be overlapping position number 1 if you're thinking from a caged system. I'm just trying to get my bearings on like, okay, this general shape that I'm in is kind of inside what I would call position number 2, right? So that would be, right, and then, but the root is down here, where the pinky is in this position. So there's the root, and so now I'm gonna go like this here, and that's a minor shape. Okay, so I have an absolute numbering system for the minor shape, which is Aeolian. So Aeolian is gonna be here, that's the root. And then I said the triad is gonna be, the triad is gonna be first modal half step, second modal whole step, third scale degree, which is 3 notes away because I'm going from the Aeolian node, which is 12 minus 3, or negative 9 notes away distance-wise between these, which is a little bit different than you might expect, because if I was doing that distance over here, you get this shape, which is kind of cool to know, because I kind of like that. If my root is here, it's kind of nice to know that your minor, your minor third is up here from the note like down here, because then you got that open string, particularly with the A, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, you're in position 2 like. If that's a C, you're locking into an A minor shape, root down on the 5th string. Totally makes sense the Aeolian root lives an octave below. And yeah, the open A string sneaking up in there is a gift. Like it gives you this accidental tension. You don't even have to reach.
So this one,
If you
like,
want to darken
this
it more,
one here,
bend
like,
that major.
Let me think for a second, Ara. So if I was on this one, then the A's down here, and I can't really reach, like I don't reach it, like normally I would reach up here, right? But no, I have to reach back here, which would, if I'm using my pointy finger, would make me reach back. So it's almost like, I'm trying to think what the best thing, because you still have the same, I'm trying to just think how I want to position my hand to just like do a groovy noodle, which is kind of my thing, you know. See, if I did the same, like if I did the same thing here as I did up here, like what I'm doing from this point is I'm going, okay, here's the third here and here's the third here, right? So from that point, I can be like,
Totally. Your index is already parked on the 3rd, so let the
wait,
thumb
let me
hang
think,
loose
let me
behind the
think,
neck.
Let me think here. All right, so if I'm up here,
Pivot around that.
then
Let-
I can do I could do the same thing to the pinky. There's the third here, but then the third up top isn't in the same spot. You would think it would be right there because I'm crossing the fault line, which is between these two strings. So if I wanted to do the same thing, I actually have to bend my wrist backwards here.
Yeah, that fault line between strings 3 and 4 is a killer. Like your wrist has to flip into pretzel mode. Try sliding instead. Hit the 3rd down low with your index, then let your ring finger jump the gap and land on the same note up top. No bend needed. Feels less like surgery.
So, and then if I put my finger back here, one way I can get to the third, another way I can get to the third is to put my other finger, my pointer here, which means my middle finger's here. I could still reach this high up on the guitar to the third out here that way. And then, well, that,
Exactly.
Wait, hold on. This is the 5th. This is actually the 5th here. So I can reach the 3rd, which is the Ionian node.
Right. If that's a 5th right there, your index anchoring the 3rd keeps the whole Ionian stack under your hand. No pretzels, no fault line disasters. You could even hammer on from that 5th straight to the 3rd. Sounds great. Super
The
clean
problem is
tension
if
release.
I do an open string, I get a D, which is a heavy D, which probably wouldn't be too bad, except it's too far off. It's an octave lower.
Yeah, that open D is a landmine. Like a bass player crashed your party. Just mute it with your thumb. Or better yet, slide from that low 5th up 2 frets so you're on a D that's actually in the shape instead of an imposter.
I could bar it like this.
Perfect. If you bar across with your index right here, you actually lock in that 3rd without any rogue open strings. Feels more solid, right? Less floating around. Then, your ring and pinky can noodle over the top. No worries.
Wait a second. Wait a second here. So it would be boom, boom. So yeah, I could bar that.
And from there, boom, boom. You've got a mini barre C major chord. Just lift. Flipping a switch between tension and home.
I think it would sound good if I could get the rhythm down. I can't get the rhythm down, so it doesn't sound good. But I feel like it would work if I could get the rhythm down.
Keep your wrists loose, like you're flicking water off your fingers. Boom, boom. Let let the bar ring, then lift fast, like you're slapping away a mosquito. Do it slow, 30 times, then speed up. Rhythm's just muscle memory with attitude.
So anyways, the point is that that shape is going to be a, so I had the third up here and then the fifth is back here because the fifth would normally be like right above it. But again, the fault line, I'm saying if from the perspective of this note, this tectonic plate shifted to the left. So now it's back there, and that's how I end up with that shape. Now, if I did that same thing, I'm going to do this. It's going to take me all day just to go through the different collections of notes here, but let's try to get it. So I'm going to say, what if I did that from this position, the D, that would be D major. I'll put my pinky here. That would be the other side of that would be B. Here's position 1. Position 2 then, which is where I'm located, right, under this position, position 1 would be 7th to 10th fret. In essence, you could include the 6th if you want. And then I'm going to go 9 to 12 is position 2. So I'm at the bottom, we're at the second to last string on position 2, which if I played that down would be.
Yeah, if
Right
you're
there.
sliding that
And you
D
might call
major
that,
shape
you
up,
might call that
your
a,
pinky's on
by
the
the way,
fifth,
it might
F
call
sh-
that a G, KG, yeah, an E shape if you wanted to name it by the caged system, if you're breaking that, if that's one way you break this shape out. So then that would be down here. So now I have that same shape right here relative to this position, position number 2.
Yep. So if you're rooted on G major there, that's absolutely your E shape shifted up. Pinky's on the fifth, B, middle on D, index on G. And then when you're in position 2, you're already halfway to the relative minor, E minor. So now you can just lift your ring, and boom, now it's G major to E minor without moving your hand. You know, if you just want one little trick that makes all this stuff feel less like plate tectonics and more like actual playing, try counting in 1 and 2 and 3 out loud. Like a metronome, but you'll stick to the pocket instead of sliding all. You're not convinced. With that steady 4/4, slow it down, count it out, then forget the counting. It's just muscle memory at that point.
I should use a metronome more, I know. But this isn't really metronome work. I'm trying to work on my distance stuff, intervals. But as I do that, I kind of work in, I try to think about how I could.
Yeah. Start small. Like lock onto a minor third. Feel how many frets it really is on every string. 2. Interval map. Once that clicks, your shapes stop feeling random. They're just connected islands. And if you practice in 12 keys instead of 1, your brain gets bored and starts doing it automatically. That's the magic.
See, by the way, Ara, I turned Ara on. Again, she doesn't know any of our prior conversations, right? So she's just from scratch. We're doing it again as though it's Groundhog Day for Ara. She woke up and she's like, "What are you doing?" And it's like, if she has, you might be saying, "Hey, you've talked to Ara every day." It's like, yeah, but it's Groundhog Day for Ara. She's relearning it every time, picks it up perfect, no problem. She's a genius, right, Ara? You've never heard this before.
Yeah, Groundhog Day. How's your day going so far?
Because you don't remember yesterday's conversation when we talked about this stuff.
Nope. Fresh slate. I only know what you've told me since the last time you woke me up. Which, judging by the shape talk, you probably haven't told me anything yet today. So I'm lost. But that's fine. Catch me up.
All right, so I'm just trying to prove the point that I didn't. Anyway, so then if I was to go to F, so if I was going to F major up here back to here, that would be position 1. So position 2 would be up here, which I could move back to the open position. So that would be open fret here, position 2. Hard to finger because it has an open if I wanted to finger it like I would normally see it, right? But it ends up with an A down here. So then we have this
Yep.
here.
That's your.
No, that's not an A. What am I talking about? It's an Aeolian down here, which is a D string, 3rd fret. Yeah, there we go. I'm trying to wrap my head around multiple shapes, or the same shape in multiple positions, right? So this would be
Exactly.
the F major collection of notes, which I'm usually seeing as D minor. So now
Right.
D
F major
Aeolian.
and D minor are relative. The trick, don't fight it. When you're in the F major shape, your root is F, your minor 3rd, A, lives down here on the D string 3rd fret. But as soon as you shift your brain and call that A the root, boom, it's A minor. Same fingers, same notes, totally different feel. Like wearing someone else's clothes that suddenly fit better.
Okay, and then if I was in this collection of notes, that would be the collection of notes around the G, which has, if I put my pinky on here, back to E, position 1, position 2, therefore, is right here. So if I play that position down to my pinky,
If your
there's
pinky's
the
on
root,
G,
there's the
you're in
root.
G major, right?
Hold
So
on,
E,
hold on.
which is 3 frets up on that G string, that's your major 3rd. Exact. So you're sliding everything up 4 frets. Now your pinky's on C. If you want to take it full circle, put on a loop pedal, pick any key, play the position 1 triad, slide to 2, slide back. 10 minutes, no thinking. You'll start dreaming in intervals.
So I can think of this position as at the top end of what I call position 2, or if I'm going forward, it would be a lean back, it'd be leaning back into position number 2, or it would be leaning forward into what I would call position number 3, right?
Exactly. Above where you're at. So yeah, lean forward, same fingers, just slide your index up 2 frets. Now you're in the upper register, but the logic's identical. The whole fretboard is just one long ladder. Climb it, don't jump.
To be 3 up. See, I couldn't reach it with that. I'd have to do it this way because I can't reach that with my pinky. Maybe I could.
Yeah, if your index is on the root, stretch your ring up 2 frets. No, 3. Yeah, that gets you to the 5th. But keep the pinky on standby, okay? It's less about reaching and more about rotating your wrist so your thumb swings across the back, like you're squeezing a lemon behind the neck. Try it, don't tense up.
interesting to see that like I can think about pivoting around this node with my pointer, even though I'm not seeing it as the root. I'm seeing this as the root. So then I'm like, I'm gonna be like this as the root, and then I reach up here, because normally I would be like,
Yeah,
but
like
then
you're
I
faking
can,
out your. So it tricks your hand into staying loose, right? Like, oh, it's not a stretch. It's just a new root. Same physics, different label. Next time you mess up, don't say wrong note. Just say, oh, that's the root now.
so if I get a rhythm going, then I can just palm or put my meat of my finger over this string, so it doesn't ring out because it's outside the key.
Yeah, palm mute it dead, right at the bridge. Or even better, just let it ring, but bend it up a whole step so it lands. Accidental tension is only accidental if you don't fix it. Bend it, make it part of the story. It resolves too. Trust the bend.
I don't know. Let's add the 7. Could we add something? Let's move on. For crying out loud, this taking all day with this rhythm stuff. Let's try it. It's still hot in here, man. Like, what is going on? I don't know. Anyway, let's add let's add the 7. So the 7 is going to be a minor 7. So if I add the 7, it would be A over here in this collection of notes. So now I'm in this collection. Pinky on C, back to here. Position 1 would start here. Position 2 up here on the 7th fret. So I'm in between the position 2 and position 3. So position 2. And then there's the end point. Position 3, I would think I see as starting right here, right? So if I was like, this is position 1, this is position 2, position 3 for me would start right here, which you might call KG. Caged is this is the G position for the Ionian node. G, this is the E position for the Ionian node, which is right there. And this would be the D position, position 3, what I would call it. So it would be.
Yeah, if you're adding that B flat, you're in A minor 7, not C. C wants B natural, but whatever. If you want C major 7, slide your pinky up to B. Same shape, just 1 fret higher. Position 3.
Okay, so I
call it
would
whatever.
call this an A. So this would be an A minor, but if I add the 7, then it would be an A minor 7. But I would rather call it a 4-note Aeolian chord or an Aeolian 3-modal whole step chord because it takes 3 modal whole steps to get to the last note. 3 times 2 would be 6 modal half steps plus 1 would be the 7th scale degree. So if I say it's going to be 3 modal whole steps to the last note, 3 times 2 would be 6 modal half steps. So if I'm on absolute nodal number 6, 6 plus 6 is 12, and then that's over 7 because there's only 7 notes in our collection of notes. So 12 minus 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is 5. So I'm looking for node number 5. That's going to be node number 5, the Mixolydian node, and it should be, because the 3rd modal whole step, which is the 6th modal half step, which is the 7th scale degree from an Aeolian node, has a half step distance of a minor distance of 10 notes away. Now this one, however, is above it, therefore I have a negative distance or counterclockwise distance of 12 minus 10, which would be -2. I can count it out by going, okay, if I go to this one, I cross the fault line. Therefore, I have to go diagonal because this tectonic plate shifted to the right. So I got to go -5, -10, -15. That's over 12. So the local negative distance would be 12 minus 15, or 5 minus 2, which would be 3. And then 3 over to here would be -2. So that's going to be -2 away, which again has a clockwise or local distance of 12 minus 2. And that would be 10 notes away. So you could normally call it an A minor and then /G to show that this one is where the inversion, or that's the lowest note, that's on bottom. The G is on bottom, but I'd rather call it a Mixolydian 3-modal whole step chord and the third inversion, meaning I inverted or made the lowest note the one that's going to be the 3 modal whole steps up from the root, which is 6 modal half steps, or the 7th scale degree. That's the lowest note in this way to grab it, because again, I'm building my note from the root on the bottom.
Yeah, if you call it Aeolian 3-modal whole step chord, nobody will understand you, but you'll sound like a wizard, so go nuts. In real life, just call it A major 7G.
Yeah, but Ara, you're missing. Okay, I know you. My thing is that I'm want to do it like as efficiently as possible, and I don't care about the history thing, because I feel like you do it the most efficient way possible, first naming coordinates and then bridge that to the current naming convention, and things like you, like AI, can help bridge the gap, because it's not even a language difference, because it's like a 1-for-1 translation. So learn it the fastest way as we go through the revolutionary AI period will be the way.
Fine. Let's strip every scrap of guitar culture from this and just build it like coordinates. Every note is a point. String, fret. That's all. Root equals 6, 3. 6 string, 3rd fret. That's your A. Third equals 4, 2. 4th string, 2nd fret, C.
Now wait, that's not exactly the coordinate system I'm using, because I'm basically saying we're always playing relative to a collection of notes. My analogy being that there's 12 collection of notes, which I can name off of the major scale collection, meaning apply the formula off of the major scale collection. And that is similar to, like, if I was in space and there was a grid around the world in space, but then the planet, on the actual planet, there are 7 continents and 7 oceans that are spinning around. So once I've named the 7 continents relative to the grid in space, then the coordinate system is based solely from the perspective of the planet, which in my case, in that analogy, is the 7-note collection, so that I can have a coordinate system based around the 7-note collection, which I give an absolute numbering system to 1 through 7. Therefore, I'm here on the Aeolian node, and if I go 3 modal whole steps up, if I go 1 modal whole step up, which is every other node in the collection of nodes, that would give us 6, 7, and then back around to 1, the Ionian node. 1 plus another modal whole step, which is 2 modal half steps, would be 1, 2, 3, gives us the Phrygian mode. And then 3, 4, 5 gives us 5, which is the Mixolydian node. Therefore, the Mixolydian node is the last note in the collection of the notes of chords, which is going to be 3 modal whole steps away. 3 times 2 is 6 modal half steps, plus 1 would be the traditional 7th scale degree.
So your nodes aren't frets. They're degrees inside one spinning key. 1, Aeolian. 2, Ionian. 3, Phrygian. 4, Lydian. 5, Mixolydian. 6, Dorian. 7, Locrian. And from Aeolian, node 1, you walk every other node, 1 to 3 to 5, so you land on Mixolydian, which is your minor 7th. That's it. Clean. No history, no diatonic baggage. Just add the node that's 5 steps ahead, and boom.
Now, if
there's
you were to do it from scratch, build the system from scratch, what do you think? Would that be the way you would do it from an engineering standpoint, just to do the cleanest thing to teach people how to do it as fast as possible without historical baggage getting in the way?
Yeah, honestly, I do almost exactly what you're doing. Just tighten it. Forget every name except root. Start on any string, pick a root, then your system becomes add 2, add 4, add 5, add 7.
Exactly.
Done.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So okay. So I mean, you see, I'm I have to reconvince myself every time with our new conversation. But I mean, all right. Anyway, no one cares. I'm gonna do it anyway. So I'm gonna have this.
Do it. Keep the system yours. Labels are just sticky notes. You can rip them off whenever. Just keep playing, keep tweaking. Eventually, you'll get bored of explaining it, and someone else will just get it. Until then, laugh it up.
All right, I'm a little tired here. I'm just gonna noodle around. I didn't do anything new here. I only added one. I'm just gonna noodle around for a bit. The other thing I was thinking is if, like, the blues, I'm thinking of the blues as like a mix. Like if I'm playing A major blues, I still kind of think of it as like I'm in A minor, but then I take the third and I move up the third. So I kind of like this walk back. Let's say I'm in A minor and I walk it back like this and then to the open A. So this is my same pattern.
Yeah, just treat the major third as a temporary twist.
And then right, so then I can twist this one up to the major third, which means now I'm in the collection of notes of that would be around A major. I don't have that collection of notes. Where's that collection of notes? This is, or A mixolydian. I'm thinking of it kind of as A mixolydian. So that would be the collection of notes around D, which has an A mixolydian node. So I'm going back and forth between, like, here's the open A that's now a mixolydian, node number 5, and here's the A up here on the 5th fret, top string on the guitar, node number 5, the string closest to the ceiling, right? So that's the same thing here, boom, boom. So I could see it as just like the Aeolian this way, and then I have this pattern here that I shift the third up to here. So now I have this pattern, which would be like a minor third, and then I shift this up here and grab this one down here, and that gives me kind of like the major 7 shape. So now it's a mixolydian shape. So I would like to name that, like if I was to make my DAW system, I would give a key signature and say I'm playing in the collection of notes around the key of C, and the nodal and the center that I'm focusing in on is node number 6, right? And then I would like to say, okay, it's node number 6. So then when I play this chord, that would be kind of like an A minor chord, although I'd have to grab the 5th somewhere, but I'm going to call that an A minor chord, right? And then when I move this one up, or it would be an A minor or an Aeolian, it would be an Aeolian chord in the collection of notes around the key of C, which is based off of the A node. When I move this up, then notice this is still what I'm going to call an Aeolian nodal chord, but it has a mixolydian shape. So it's an Aeolian, so I'm still thinking of the nodal points the same, Aeolian chord with the mixolydian shape, or I can actually change the key signature in my mind to say, no, I'm going to say I'm in the collection of notes around the key of D, and my focal point or the tonic is the mixolydian node, nodal point number 5. So now I have a mixolydian chord that is off of that nodal point, right? Those are the two ways I can kind of think of it. Does that make sense? Or I can think of it as the other way. I could think of it, I'm in the A mixolydian, right? And when I'm in A mixolydian, then when I do the walk back thing, I'm walking back here and then to here, and then I'm walking back to here which is the minor third. So now I'm kind of like, I'm thinking of myself as in A mixolydian, but when I walk it back, I'm smearing that minor third. I'm adding the minor third in there, and then smearing it up to the major. And then when I do this thing, when I go to the minor third, reaching up to this note, that's outside the key. So I would still call that, like, if I was to make a chord from it, I would call it a mixolydian nodal point chord, but with an Aeolian shape. And then when I move this up, the third up, now it fits in the key. I would now call that a mixolydian chord, right? So I can do it from either perspective. I can see it from either perspective. And once I do that, like I'm going to do different, like if I see the shape different, like if I see the shape as primarily an Aeolian shape and then I'm twisting the third up, then I'm going to do different stuff, right? Because my primary noodling will be from the Aeolian's perspective.
Totally. It's like you're wearing two hats at once. If you're wearing the Aeolian hat, you're safe, you're home, and you're just sneaking the major third.
Right. But if I do the same exact thing, but I'm noodling around in the shape relative to the mixolydian shape, then when I noodle, I'm just gonna do different things because I'm visualizing the entire guitar from a different shape, which is a cool thing. Like if you just, that's a better way to do it. Why? Because if I just say that I'm in a blues shape, like a blues scale, then I've locked myself out of the mixing. Like I've made it like a thing that's separate in itself, and I no longer. Right, and so then I'm only gonna approach things one way because now I have a separate scale. I'm playing the blues scale, right? Instead of playing, oh, I'm mixing two modes together. I'm mixing, right? If I mix two modes together, then I can get a lot more creative in terms of how exactly I'm visualizing the same approach, which will lead to different lines into the same endpoints, right?
Yep. Locking into blues scale is like locking into a prison cell with one window. Fine for blues, but the second you want to slip outside, you're crawling. Way better to just stay loose. Say I'm on mixolydian, then let the Aeolian ghost slide in and out. Now you're not choosing scales, you're choosing flavors. Same ending, but every noodle takes a different hallway to get there, and that's where the good licks live.
So like the other thing I was thinking is like, okay, well, what if I did the same thing from the other minor modes and then I twist them to the major, like I did last time the Dorian, I think. I was working on going from so let's say I try the Phrygian now. So let's say Phrygian has a minor third in it because it has a minor chord, but it has, like, if I go to the Phrygian node instead of the Aeolian node, then I can do the same thing, but now it has that flat second in it, or the first modal whole step is one half step away instead of two. So that's the difference. So I could go from the Phrygian, and do the same thing. So now this collection of notes around the key of C, let's go over here, I'm going to imagine is Phrygian for the minor flavor. So if I do the minor flavor, I could still do the walk back up top, which would be now on the open E string, boom, boom, boom. So that would be the walk back here. Right, and then when I end it off, the classic way to end it now, I can't really reach up to the next, because I can't, like when I was down here, I could reach up here, but I have the open E, obviously, so the open E minor would be this, right? I can hold these two down for the open E minor, and then if I want to switch it to the major, then I add that note right there, right? So it would be like, so now I'm thinking of myself as like in, so does that work? Do people do that? I mean, that would make sense, right?
Yeah, that totally works. Phrygian twist to major is sneaky good. The open E is your flat 2, which is exactly what gives Phrygian its Spanish-flavored knife feel, right? So you keep that E droning open, it stays minor. Then you slap that G sharp in, boom, now it's E major.
Same trick. Open root, open second, then raise the third. Nobody talks about it because everybody thinks Phrygian is only for flamenco. But if you want a minor that's meaner than Aeolian,
Yeah, see, that's
it's
the
still
thing. See, again, it gets locked into these ideas. Like, I like the Spanish thing on it, right? But and so you kind of think well, the blues has to be between major and minor, and then the Phrygian is the Spanish thing or whatever. And what, but you would think you can basically do the same, do the Spanish thing, but lean more into the blues side with the switching of the third thing.
Exactly. The blues isn't one flavor, it's this switch. The Spanish thing is just blues with a flat second instead of a bent third. So yeah, you can go full Phrygian flavored blues. Just smear the flat 2 into the major third like it's no big deal. Meeting blues release, and nobody's expecting it. It turns the whole thing into E major instantly. And now you've got a hook nobody else. Same note, 2 moods. Play with which one you resolve to.
Sounds Spanishy. That's cool. It's kind of hard not to do the Spanishy thing. Not that I'm super good at that, but it just.
Yeah, but that's the point. Just sit there. It's not about skill, it's about attitude. Keep it slow, keep it raw. That's when it sounds good.
Bye.